Hello, everyone, and a good morning to you from Monterey, California, just about 300 or so miles away from Los Angeles, where I host the Shrine Auditorium that will be hosting the Hall Live English concert Serendipity, their fourth concert overall, well, for Hall Live English. Here in Monterey, California, it's a different story where we will be hosting the Round 5 of HoloProto International for the 2026 season, and more crucially, it's the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400 coming right up for you, and we have an extended grid coming up to you, and we'll explain that in a bit more detail after this. So let's take a look into the track map as to what the track will look like as Round 5 of the international season, where it was supposed, Round 5 was supposed to take place in Manalica, but that's now moved as Round 6 of HoloProto International. And at the same time, it is also now, also Silverstone, which was supposed to be Round 6, is now cancelled, which its place was taken by, of course, this race, the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400, which now occupies Round 5 of the season, of which it will coincide with the Hall of English 4th concert, of course, that will take place in Los Angeles in the Shrine Auditorium. Anyways, let's not dilly down too much. It's a 3.6 kilometer circuit. It's got very much intimidating corners like the Andretti hairpin, rainy curve, but more importantly, the corkscrew. First and foremost, we're talking about a massive amount of elevation changes downwards. It's like a roller coaster, if you will. So for the main races, it's 200 kilometers each, 54 laps in total for both of these races for today and tomorrow. The lap record has been a 1:16.290, at least on paper. This will be the target lap time for everyone to beat. So let's take a look into the standings after Borram. Of course, Dan Evans has his first major issue in the season, where he hasn't shown his race-winning pace from the first 3 races, but he does at least salvage a few points from his consistent run, which he survived a very wet Borram race. And of course, with his points haul on the first 3 races of the season, his lead is basically still sizable, although Tyler Williams is catching up as the driver to watch for this weekend, as he's fresh off a win. Of course, in that Borram race, of course, it was red flagged after 35 laps. And joining him will be Hugh Tassano and Aaron, representing Gigi and Hagos Bales, respectively. Of course, joining the Pony driver on the pursuit for the top spot in the championship. And then we got the likes of Hanare Miyuki, who currently occupies 5th in the standings. Of course, with that 5th place finish in Borram, the 2nd place in Sebring, absolutely helping her cause. That same could not be said for Javier Lusby. Remember, these two drivers, their VTubers, are represented as guests in the Serendipity concert coming right up, so that's why we're mentioning them as well. Rafael de Oliveira also looking to see if he can grab his first win for Nerissa Ravencroft this season, because he's already had winning pedigree in the number 76. Apologies, not really, but he does have a what do we call? Oh man, he has not won? No way! He hasn't won a race. Never mind. So anyways, Rafael de Oliveira looking very fancy to win a race for Nerissa Ravencroft. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And also looking at the rest of the field, a few of the other EN drivers, Sven Jensen and Matthias Zagaris rounds out the top 10. Dawan Boom and Haziyazi occupy 12 and 13. And then we also have Alex Grant, Corey Mendes, Evelyn Crummy, Gray Prower occupying 17th to 20th. Moshazin Reza and Joshua Zuri occupy the bottom 4 positions for the EN class entrance. And so that they can change things around for this race. With that out of the way, let's take a look into the our first agenda of today. Invitational Race 1 featuring the 15 EN class cars. Joshua Zurich will start on pole position for the first invitational race alongside Haziyazi, who will start on the front row. Evelyn Kuromi will start on row 2 with Rafael de Oliveira on row 2. Row 3 will comprise of Koirika Mendez and Moshadan Reza. Alongside them, behind in row 4, it will be Sven Jensen, Iron. And then on row 5, it will be Hugh Tasano and Alex Grant, followed by Takeda Adachi and Tyler Williams. And then rounding out the field will be Tawan Bumin and Great Prower on row 7. And starting at the back of the field, Enzio Ferrari for Aurora Pantera. For this 4 laps, all the EN class cars will have their own showdown. And as showdown, we are promised we will be getting. And of course, the results for Invitational Race 1 will be the grid in reverse for Invitational Race 2. So each of these drivers will still have something to fight for on this 4-lap race. So, anyways, that should be all for the intro. My name is Moshadan Reza in the commentary booth. Not that Moshadan Reza, but anyways, we are gonna get this race started. We got the 15 EN class cars ready to rip things off into the distance. And of course, we forgot to mention that we will also be packing some kind of surprises at the end of today's stream to, you know, prepare for the inevitable of sorts. That inevitable is, of course, going to be something that we will be checking. But anyways, we are getting ready. All of the 15 EN class cars are already lined up on the grid. Just wanted to double check on this one, if everything is okay. It looks to me that it is only a single color. Alright, let's not waste too much of our time. We are ready for our first race, the invitational race, before we start the main races coming right up. Alright, Enzio Ferrari to do some smart driving in the Crazy Ollie number 13. We'll have to wait and see how that will work. But anyways, we are gonna officially get ourselves into this race. Just check the thing. Alright. So it's gonna be Joshua Zure on pole position with Hazik Yazi in second place in our first race for this weekend here in Laguna Seca. And we are off. Everyone gets off well. But it looks to me that Hazik Yazi has a way better start there as they're now coming into turn 1. They're gonna take it easy though and not expend their equipment as it relates again. But you can see here how Joshua Zure straddles too much of the curb. Same goes for Evelyn Kuromi, and that's gonna cause him a lot of problems. But it's gonna be Hazik Yazi now leading, Joshua Zure in second, and now Kuromi is in third. De Oliveira has a great start there. He now goes up into 4th place. Koirika Mendez now battles Shazad Reza there. These two of these entrants already sharing basically duo time together later today, as you see multiple cars going off at what looks to be turn 4, as they're now coming into the corkscrew here. Hazik Yazi now barreling through down into the most infamous corner in Laguna Seca. Everyone is just surviving. Currently no issues out of anyone so far. Only light contact at most. We now get to see though Hugh Tasano now going down the inside. Tyler Willis. Oh, what a massive drop there from Matias Zacarias in the Aurora Pantera number 60. Oh, and that's a massive straddling the curbs there. Tawan Bumin. But they're all managing to survive here on this first lap. Tons of racing action here on this racetrack here in Northern California. As we're now starting the second quarter of this race. Hazik Yazi still leads. Joshua Zure now with a comeback. At this point, Zure is looking for any form of consolation after what has been a very horrible start to the season that he's had so far, with his best finish of only 13th from the defending HoloProto champion. Obviously not having an ideal moment for him. But now you can see here the other problems that Laguna Seca poses due to its layout of it having a lot of like it's a fast-flowing section. It's a great track for hot lapping, but not a great track for racing and overtaking. So we're gonna most likely see a procession unless we see some gung-ho action, on which I highly advise these drivers not to, because these equipment are very, very expensive. And by equipment, I mean race cars. Right, anyways, nice to see some viewers tuning in for today. Any form of viewership is, of course, very much appreciated. As we're also trying our best to hype up the Serendipity concert in the way we always know how, and that's by hosting races that coincide with these concerts. Everyone else just manages to survive, and we are now just seeing a preview of what's to come in the race later today. Sven Jensen now currently P6, Shadreza in 7th, Iron 8, Grant 9th, Williams inside the top 10. And everyone is just about thinking about survival and not thinking too much about, you know, all of the other things. Right now we are seeing procession right now because everyone just wants to survive. So now you can see here how this track, how these drivers are going to approach this race. Oh, and that's Irene deciding to basically end her race early. I mean, it might be strategic after all, because this will mean that Irene will start at the back of the field. Well, she will start on pole position for the Invitational Race 2, which will use the inverse of race results of Race 1 as the starting lineup, with Hasid Yazid already starting his final lap of this race. Hasid Yazid, of course, looking back at his previous record, has already won for Shiori in HoloProto in the Split A race of the Colorized Harmony Fuji 5 hours last year. Obviously trying to find his way into another win in this season. We'll see which of the other drivers are going to decide to just park it. But anyways, Hasid Yazid has survived the basically survived the challenge from Joshua Azurin, basically taking the lead from Azurin. And now Yazid is gonna give one more memory for Shiri Novella to archive. And even though it's gonna be an invitational win, it's gonna be a win regardless, as Hasid Yazid is about to cross the line to win Invitational Race 1 of the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. Azurin 2nd, Kuromi 3rd, De Oliveira 4th, Corey Mendes 5th, Sven Jensen, Shadra Reza, Grant, Williams, Asana, running on the top 10, Adachi 11th, Zacharias 12th, Prower 13th, and that should be everyone settled and, well, done and dusted. So anyways, let's take a look into the race results for today's Invitational Race, which will be the inverse of the race grid for Invitational Race 2. Hasid Yazid takes a win for the Novelites, with Joshua Azurin taking 2nd place. This will mean Hasid Yazid will start at the back for tomorrow's race. Well, Invitational Race, that is. Azurin and Kuromi will line up on row 7. Rafael de Oliveira and Corey Mendes will line up on row 6. Sven Jensen and Moshe Reza will line up on row 5. Alex Grant will start on row 4 alongside Tyler Williams. And on row 3, it will be Hyuta Sano and Takeda Adachi. Second row will be Matias Zacharias and Gray Prower. And of course, starting at the front, second will be Tawan Bumin. And on pole position, Iron Falcos Bales. I mean, well, it just happens. Now we're just gonna have a quick save of the replay before we sort this one out. So anyways, that's the Invitational Race done, to basically cover any form, and I mean any form, of permutations coming into the Serendipity concert coming right up. All right, so we do have another agenda that we need to look into, and this is the most important one yet. This will be the first of 2 main races for the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to have a 7-minute qualifying session followed by the first 56 lap race. No points will be awarded for today just yet. Well, no points will be awarded for today. That will be reserved for tomorrow. The results for race 1, no inverse, will be the starting order for race 2. So that means no qualifying for tomorrow. It will be a straight race for tomorrow's race. And the results for race 2 will basically, for basically the international entrance, will basically dictate the points paying results. Alright, so we have already loaded up the grid here in Laguna Seca. The qualifying session has already started. Of course, we got our first cars out, of course, in this international, in HoloProto International. It's not just EN class cars that are racing here. It's also the ID class cars. And as you may recall, 4 guests have been announced for the Serendipity concert. And those guests just so happen to be Veshazera and Kobo Kanaeru for the ID side. And in the JP side, it will be, well, Okamimiyo and Tsunamake Watame. And as a result of that, in addition to the, ID class entrants already entering in today's race, by virtue of them already being part of HoloProto International, we do see 2 extra entrants for today's race. As we are gonna try to check here now, we are not seeing any blue rear wings, well, just yet. Well, we are just gonna check if everything is gonna be okay. And right now we do have some, just gonna check. That's not blue. Alright, so we have our first cars out, and that is, of course, Jay Goodwin and Muhammad Cashew, representing Okamimiyo and Tsunamake Watame, respectively. They are coming out of their pit boxes right now. So this is one thing that we also need to pay attention as well. These drivers, even if they occupy the top 15 spots, they will not be considered when counting the points-paying results. So let's say if Jay Goodwin and Muhammad Cashew finish 1-2, the winning amount of points will go down to 3rd place onwards for the ENID class cars as Muhammad Cashew goes off. Alright, so let's go on board our driver on form here, Tyler Williams, in the number 92 HoloProto machine. He's gonna try to find some serendipity in today. This is now coming down into the final corner. As you can see, coming into the front stretch, he is using everything in his power to get the best exit off of that final corner. Just flattered the turn 1, and once he hits that part of the corner, hit the brakes here, coming into the Andretti hairpin, insert the double apex hairpin, and try to focus on getting on the late one, and then into turn 3, use one of the markers there, the leader markers there, but not before, not after the 1, trying to hook himself up into third gear as well, into turn 4. Coming down into this, that's your reference for your braking at the earliest. Into turn 5, down into 2nd gear. Don't touch the curbs inside turn 5. That will send you flying. And then you can see here, he's absolutely committing there into turn 6, and coming up into the Ray-Halt straight comes the most daunting corner in Laguna Seca with an seriously amazing drop here into the corkscrew there. Almost like car almost went up in the air, and it's now coming to rainy curve. It is easy corner to understeer, and then hitting the curve to the turn 10. 3rd gear flick, and then into the final corner, heavy braking down into 1st gear. Slow down your car at around 80 kilometers an hour, and then that is your lap here in Laguna Seca. And it's going to be a decent lap there for Williams. 1:17.025. Evelyn Cromie. Not showing a lot of pace here on at number 53. Ryan Kagawa also looking pretty slow. We'll Lusby has already completed his lap. Rafael de Oliveira with 1:16.695. We're gonna check if there are any other responses. Oh, contact! I saw contact. That is Hinoshi Tayo, and that's gonna cause a lot of harm to Muhammad Cassius' lap time. Jay Goodwin, meanwhile, is the JB class car on the front row. Actually, no, it's on pole position. Muhammad Cassius, as a result of his contact, has not dropped down the order. Almost all the cars have completed their laps. Rafael de Oliveira currently looking to sit on the front row alongside Jay Goodwin, but let's see if we can have a good start into turn 1. And I think that's every single one of the cars already completing their laps. It will, after this one-shot qualifying session, it will be Jay Goodwin who will start on pole for today's Serendipity 400 race 1. And he will start alongside Rafael in the number 76 Nerissa machine. Here. I mean, a win would do to, you know, give his Oshi a lot of justice, and yeah, that happens sometimes. It's pretty much inconsequential when it comes to the pits. Anyways, now in 12th place. Doing okay right now. Azuric, meanwhile, in P8. Adachi P4. Dan Evans, meanwhile, is nowhere to be seen in the top 10. He's currently set to qualify down in 19th place. So we are just gonna check here until, well, it's not really a one-shot qualifying if you can get the cars ready in time. And right now we don't know if Lusby and Kagawa are there to do one more hot lap. And it will be an insane thing. And unfortunately for Enzo Ferrari in the number 13 Crazioli car, he's down in 24th. Not the race that he's looking for, and neither does Matthias Zacharias. He's now down in P20. So we'll see two ID class cars trying to go for one more lap. We'll see if it is consequential in the grand scheme of things, as everyone thinks they're just gonna be content with that single lap run. Like Ryan Kagawa has crossed the line to make the start line, and for Javier Lusby, he has not made it. Javier Lusby has not made it. So we will see how Ryan Kagawa's lap goes. As you can see, coming into turn 4. Turn 5 just looking pretty decent there for the Pavole Rene car. And already only down by 2/100ths of a second in that first sector. Coming into turn 6, he is doing pretty okay there, just avoiding the curves. Everyone's been told to avoid the curbs. And right now everyone is heeding set instructions. And now coming into the second sector times, it will be a 54.534. It's gonna be a very good lap there. Maybe the front row beckons for Ryan as he absolutely hooks that penultimate corner very well into turn 11. Heavy braking. And it will be... Oh, it's a good lap from Ryan Kagawa on that final sector. 1/10 of a second faster than Jake Goodwin. He will start on pole. He will start on pole for race 1 of the Serendipity 400. Well, let's take a look on the starting lineup here. Alright. Is a lap time faster than Jake Goodwin by 0.154 of a second. Take a bow to Ryan Kagawa, who starts on pole position for race 1 of the Serendipity 400. Jake Goodwin in second place for Okami Mio as one of the guest entries for this for round 5 HoloProto International, coincided with Mio's as a guest entry in the Serendipity concert. And now we're looking at our best EN class car of Rafael de Oliveira starting P3 for Nerissa Ravencroft. Starting alongside well behind Arimi Mio, keeping P4 for Koba Kanaera, also as one of the invitational and guests for the concert. Taking Adachi P5 for Ina. Alongside him will be Evelyn Kuromi P6. Yutasano starts P7. Alongside him will be... Oh no. Oh. It's Gigi and Crony on row 4. You know what's gonna happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, the row 5 will be Joshua Zuri for Mori Calliope and Johnny Pranata for Hoshina Vamuna. And then we got, well, basically a Bayris 11th and 12th with Iron and Sven Jensen starting alongside each other. Motion Reza will start alongside Tawan Bumi in row 7. And then Alex Grant will start 15th. Alongside him will be the number 07 of Javier Luspi. Looking to try to get himself back into the points for sure. And then we got Hinoshi Tayo P17 with Aziz Mwazit P18. Dan Evans, our championship leader, starts P19th. Alongside him will be Matias Zacharias in P20th. P21st, our Invitational Race 1 winner, Hazi Gyazi will start from 21st. 22nd will be Mokoko's Great Prower. Yutasano, meanwhile, starts P23. And then we got Enzo Ferrari down in P24. In the P25, it is Angela Sims. And then at the back is Mama Cashew, who of course had a tangle with, I believe, Rico Mendez in qualifying. So he's just looks to me that it is a bit an unfortunate incident for him, but he will see what he can do to starting at the back. Obviously, he's mainly here for the racing experience in Laguna Seca. All right, so we got our 27 cars lined up for today. Well, 26 actually. 27 if you're including the safety car, but we're not counting the safety car for obvious reasons. So, let's get the race finally underway. The first of 54 laps will start in the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. Race 1 is about to start. And it's gonna be Ryan Kagawa and Jake Goodwin alongside on the front row. Rafael de Oliveira, what can he do from P3 on the grid? And we are off here for race 1 of the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. And it's a great start from all of our runners here. Everyone just about survives. Oh, and that's big tank slapper there. Takes too much curb on the inside of the Andretti hairpin. And that's going to cost Kagawa second place. And now de Oliveira is about to go at it, but he has been way too ambitious on to basically turn 3. And that's going to bunch himself and the rest of the back. And there's more cars going off. It looks to me everyone just about survives. We just don't know if there are any race-ending collisions just yet. But it looks like a lot of these drivers are now going double file as they're now coming up the hill. It's going to be Jake Goodwin leading de Oliveira, Kagawa Miyuki, and Mendes running on the top 5. Kromi and Adachi are on their own battles in P6. Williams and Azuric 9. Shireza rounds on the top 10. Here's the look into the corkscrew, and as everyone here is just trying to survive. Oh man, that looks pretty satisfying to watch. As a spectator, of course. Oh, and it's Johnny Panata! Johnny Panata spun out on what looks to me right before turn 10, and that looks like a sizable impact. And he will, at the very least, start at the back in tomorrow's race 2, as he confirms his exit from today's race. Johnny Panata is out. So we have our first lap complete, and unfortunately our first casualty of today's race. Goodwin, meanwhile, is controlling the pace of this race, while de Oliveira trying to catch. Obviously, he's got race-winning potential, and he showed that in the most recent HoloProto International race. The issue is, and I mean the big issue is, can he actually pull this off to give Nerissa Ravencroft a win here in HoloProto, and the first time he will be winning, as Nerissa Railway car driver. Of course, Ryan Kagawa has won for Nerissa back in the 24-25 Singapore Super Prix. For you, Raphael, it is a funny but true, basically, it is an unbelievable fun fact, but it's a true unbelievable fun fact. Rafael de Oliveira is another one of our drivers who have yet to win a ARO race, let alone a HoloProto race. And if you're just tuning in from anywhere, welcome to the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400, the race that coincides with Hololive English's 4th concert that's scheduled to take place hours from now in Shrine Auditorium. The reason why we're hosting this Laguna Seca race pretty early in the Pacific time is to give our drivers basically the schedule to take a flight to Los Angeles and be able to catch the concert live in person. Wink. But anyways, all of the cars are having already crossed the line. It looks to me that a lot of these drivers are going to be going for a pit stop after the first third of this race. So likely lap 20, lap 21. And after that, we'll see a lot of pit lane activity. But we are seeing some outliers in the form of Matthias Zakaris and Tyler Williams, who are feel pretty heavy and will try to go for the overcut strategy. So that will be something that drivers need to pay attention as far as race strategy is concerned. Also, it is still pretty cold here in Monterey, less than 20 degrees Celsius and around the 70 degrees Fahrenheit mark. That's something to pay attention. So I just also want to know who you would be supporting in both today's race and in the Serendipity concert. Speaking of which, let's start a Q&A. Alright, we're starting a bit of a Q&A right now just to, give people a chance to interact with the stream a bit more. And we do, of course, value all of our viewers' thoughts, of course. Right now, Ferrari is currently not having the race of his time, as he's now down in P24. As far as our EA class cars are concerned. Oh, and that's an engine failure! Engine failure for our first EA class car out of this race. And that's Great Prower. Great Prower with an engine failure. He's now out of this race. Absolute heartbreak for the Mokoco driver. It's not fuzzy today. This was the VTRP, there won't be any Moko coverage going forward. Well, you're getting the arrows equivalent of 4 watch right now. In the form of Tawan Booming currently running in P13. We'll see how he does in trying to catch up to Kino Chitayo. Speaking of which, Bayris there's a potential Bayris battle for P10, and right now it's a nice bright and sunny day here in Monterey, California. Not sure about the seasons, but it is pretty accurate for what we're seeing here. It's been dry. The grass field's been dry as well. And you know what's also dry? Well, the track. Group's looking absolutely perfect for all of these drivers, just continuing to give it a bit of a challenge here. And now we're also going to be taking a look there into Jorge Mendes, who is going to give some challenge there to Hanari Miyuki in the number 14 motor machine. Obviously, she's doing a very good job there. Obviously scoring that second place finish in the Sebring weekend has absolutely allowed her to keep things relatively simple and easy for her. In regards to her quest to qualify for, well, I was going to talk about her chance to qualify for the World Seal, but then I also realized there's no international Seal or Zako, so that's that. Right, 5 laps complete in the first of the 2 races of the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. Alright, so let's see another one of the storylines going forward here. I heard there's been a lot of craze regarding this World Cup. Of course, also getting in on the action regarding World Cup games happening primarily in the United States, but there have also been games in Canada and Mexico. Report. Kara, of course, has been fervently following the Austrian national team. And I heard that Mike Alec has been involved in this World Cup standings as well. You can help share with me. And then there is also and Kikirara VV from the JP side. They were supporting Japan, primarily, well, I did actually tune into their World Cup watch along stream when Japan faced Brazil. Unfortunately, Brazil had been too good to play against Japan. Anyways, back onto this race here, De Oliveira continuing to pile on the pressure onto Jake Goodwin here as they're coming into the corkscrew once again. And compared to the Formula Hall Life International race, this is one clean race, actually. A bit of a context here, Ina and Kiara had performed in Los Angeles for the Draw to Dawn live concert featuring them, these two. And on that race, the race had been what do we call red flag pretty early as a result of having too many cars crashing out. Kenadachi was the driver who took the checkered flag. Now, let's take a look back into historical information about what happened in the Seca Formula Hall Life race. Of course, there were a lot of chaos in that one. It was a race. Well, basically, the race had been running for about 80 plus laps, but it ended after lap 59. And of course, just too many crashes to essentially run the risk being able to continue as it is. But then the drivers now come into this weekend more prepared than ever, and so they are now basically ready to take heed of what happened previously, and they're now taking it to great light. Avoiding the curbs, and avoiding unnecessary and silly mistakes. Only one of these crashes had been due to a collision. And speaking of which, we will check onto our retirement here. I just wanted to check here onto one of our entrants, and that will be Jody Pranata. Here is essentially what happened to him. Oh, that is what happened. This is a violent crash there. As it turns out, here's the driver that kind of instigated the incident. Reza trying to go down the inside, but has absolutely straddled the curb, and that's why Reza lost ground. Obviously, that angle hasn't really done so much. You can see here, he straddled the curbs there, Reza, and just absolutely. No, he was running alongside. Whether or not this is actually grounds of a penalty, that one I really cannot tell. I think this angle will provide way better context. But the argument is that Reza was already ahead of the corner, but Johnny Bernata was pretty much unsighted. No, Johnny Bernata didn't see that coming. Here's Johnny Bernata's on board. No, by this stage, Reza was ahead, but he didn't realize that Reza had lost control of the car. No, obviously this is going to be a very tough call. Now, obviously this is the incident that sent Johnny Bernata out of this race. I'm not sure if this counts as a penalty, but the stewards are currently investigating. A decision might come soon as to what has actually happened to both of these cars. Well, we just don't know. Well, currently the idea is we just don't know what is currently the case. Now, the idea is that Reza was ahead by turn 9 in the rainy curve. But the problem is he lost control of the car and in doing so collected an innocent bystander. Now, currently it is between a penalty and a no further action, because it's basically, from what I can see, it's a racing incident between these two. Johnny Bernata basically stuck around the outside and tried to go alongside, thinking that it would be smooth sailing, but then again, by virtue of Shazrin being ahead by turn in, the corner belonged to Shazrin, and in doing so, it allowed the Koseki Beach driver to claim control of the corner, and therefore it is within Pranatas' right to go, back off. But yeah, this is going to be a very tricky one, but I think it is going to be no further action. No further action for the incident between Shannon Reza and Johnny Pranata, as unfair as it sounds to Johnny. I feel like both drivers are to blame, and yeah, it is going to be a tough call anyway. But from what I can see, it is a no further action. I mean, it is Shannon's corner, and but also at the same time, Shannon lost control from that corner, and which collected another car that sent him out of the race. So that is going to be something to take note of. But right now, it is a racing incident, so I know Johnny Pranata might feel hard done by, but I'm not sure. If you give a penalty to Shazrin, he will argue that there will be a penalty. He will argue that it is an unfair penalty. But anyways, yes, more information from the Holo side of things. Ina branded PC cases. No, I'm not sure about the form factor. You can't go wrong with ATX, or basically a smaller form factor. But an Ina themed PC case, well, I can't do wrong with that. I mean, at the same time, you can just customize your own PC case and make it your own. That could also work, but buying one pre-made from Height that may include your Oshi is also going to be a plus. Speaking of which, Takeda Adachi is also doing a good race right now, of course running for Ninamai Inanis, Absolutely. Oh, and that's a car going off, and I think it's Matthias Zacharias. Matthias Zacharias has gone off the Citino, overcooking into what looks like turn 6, coming before the Rahal Strait, and that will be a massive loss for the Citino army. Let's check exactly what happened to Matthias. Oh, too much braking there, and that's gonna cause him to basically beach out into the gravel. Absolutely. It's just an absolute shame. Just you can see the front end just locked in just like that, very heavily. He realized that mistake and tried to correct it, but by that time he had already gone off into the gravel trap, and that is the Citino driver for Laura Pantera out. One of the BFFs out of this race as well. An absolute shame though for the Inani's driver. Meanwhile, we might see some battles here between one of the Bay Race entrants. That's Sven Jensen down the inside. Down the inside goes the Aristocrat coming into turn 6. And this is going to be hairy between the two. Oh, and he has clouded the curb. But manages to continue, and then it will be Irene taking the win, taking advantage of others' chaos for her own benefit. And it's going to be Sven Jensen now trying to fend off the charge between from Hinoshi Tayo, Tawan Bumin, and Co. So we now have 23 cars remaining after 13 laps of racing. After 13 laps of racing, and the driver that we need to pay attention is, of course, Corey Enrique Mendez, racing for Takanashi Chiara. Oh yeah, it's not a good day for the BFS. I just forgot. Sorry if I forgot about. Sorry for forgetting about Great Prowler. So that only leaves us with Tawan Bumin, and we see more cars going off the track. That looks like Azuri going off a bit, and that will give Tyler Williams the position. So the onus for the BFF side will be Tawan Bumin, who currently is running P13. Obviously having a solid result, actually. And, actually, no, he crashed at home. He crashed at home. He's one of the non-point scorers in Roram in his own home race as well, Sky. But also, we are checking into this race battle for the race lead that is still currently being developed. Goodwin absolutely cannot sustain the amount of pace that he's having right now. He's currently being hounded by De Oliveira, who is absolutely charging. He's on an inspired run to, at the very least, try to give race water and race a river cross. We're seeing more battles. Now this time, it's going to be Sven Jensen beating Iron into the final corner. It's now Sven Jensen into the top 10. On you indeed for our 3 DNFers so far. Obviously, oh, and there's a bit of contact there. There is Hanari Miyuki. Oh, and there's a massive collision there. Oh, and that's even more collision. And once again, and even more collision. At this time, she's taken out not only Joshua Azurin and Sven Jensen, Tawan Bumin, and Alex Grant, but also multiple retirements at once. Hanari Miyuki has caused a massive pileup. Now, this one I think is far less. This one is, of course, far less permissible. If you see what happened there, this is basically Hanari Miyuki just overcooking the corner and then having a horrible re-entry, and then collects Joshua Zurit like that, and then also collects Van Jensen, and in the ensuing chaos also collects her own ID class teammate, who, and remember, both of them are ID guests for this one, and as a result, that sent Alex Grant and Sven Jensen out of this race as well. And Tawan Movement has had a huge amount of damage but manages to continue. Alright, so let's check. Joshua Zurz is on board. Oh, yeah, that looks very, very ugly there. The way Miyuki has rejoined. But because there is a race 2, so here's the wide shot of what has exactly happened. Look at this one. First, there's the contact with Azuri, and then the contact for Sven Jensen that it essentially had him slam head on into the wall, and then the contact with Looseby. And then from Sven Jensen, the collision, he also collected Tawan Bumin and Alex Grant as well. Unfortunately, the pit stop cycles have yet to start. But you can see here, oh no. This is what we fear will happen. And unfortunately, this means that Joshua Zuri is completely wounded. And by completely wounded, he is now having an uncontrollable car. And right now, he is struggling trying to get his car back into the pits. In a state like this, I don't think it should be allowed. So we will most likely have to retire Joshua Azuri as well. And you can see here. As you can see here, Azuri just continuing to limp the car home. And right now the idea is that we are gonna try to have a bit of a red flag period for a while after 15 laps, and I think this will be the case. Joshua Zuri's car is getting far too wounded for all the cars to handle, so we will have to red flag this race. So we will basically restart the race. Alright, so we are going to take the red flag. We are going to basically cut 15 laps from the original 56. So we will restart the race with 41 laps to go. Of course, we are going to exclude the DNFers like Matthias Zacharias and basically Alex Grant, who was also involved. Sven Jensen, who was also involved. Josh Azuri had been pretty much wounded as well. And also Jari Parnata, who was also involved in the crash, as well as Gray Prower. And also involved in the thing as well. We just wanted to double check who was also involved in the crash. Hanori Miyuki, who... Yeah, oh, so yeah, Javier Looseby and Hanori Miyuki, our two ID class guests for, well, the two drivers representing the ID class, also out of this race as well. And also just wanted to check there the other driver who is out, and that will be Zacharias. So, on this restart, it will be Jay Goodwin who will start on pole position. De Oliveira will start second. Ryan Kagawa will start in P3 with Takeda Adachi in P4. Evelyn Kuromi will start in P5. Just wanted to double check. Kuromi. P5. And Tyler Williams will start P6. P7 will be Koyurika Mendez and Irene. P9 will be Hinochi Taiyo and Moshazren Reza. Tawan Bumin and looks like Aziz Muazif in P12. P13 will be Hyuta Asano and Angela Sims. And then looking into this one, Cashew and Evans will make up 15th and 16th. And Enzo Ferrari and Hazi Kiazi will make up the remaining drivers on this race. Alright, so we are going to resume this race. Everyone is basically allowed to refuel their cars, if you will. We're just gonna do this. Everyone is also now being told to basically turn down the aggression levels by a massive lot. All right, so we are now going to get the race restarted. So yeah, it is a time to stop the race to basically calm the situation down. Of course, we cannot continue the race as it was with set of courses AI and all, meaning that it will be a massive hazard for the remaining entrants to have a stricken car just continue to lap around the circuit because the pit stop cycle hasn't started. It's just about fair, unfortunately. It's just about fair. It had to do it, unfortunately, but it was fair. And it's for the everyone's interest. But anyways, let's take a look into the start of this race again. We are going to restart the race and we are going to start with 41 laps to go. And so, it's going to be Jake Goodwin on pole position once again. And alongside him is still Rafael de Oliveira, and we will restart this race. And this time, Rafael de Oliveira, what a great start from him! As now they're gonna go alongside into the Andretti hairpin for one more time again. And as we're gonna see here, this time it's gonna be Jake Goodwin who straddles the curb. De Oliveira now takes the lead after this restart. Goodwin tries to fight back. Kagawa goes off the track. No repeat so far from the big crash that was caused by Hanari Miyuki. Insurers are still investigating, by the way, the incident as to how severe the incident has been and where Hanari Miyuki actually finished. So I just wanted to double check on the order of basically the finishers actually from the previous race, and I hope that it is accurate enough that it counts. But anyways, as this has now gone up to P12 against basically Wazif, Ferrari and Yazid. Oh, and that's another carbon copy of the incident, but this time Yazid manages to catch the car. Oh crap. Ah, crap. Oh, no. I was just trying to check the replay and I tried to take a look at the details. Unfortunately, it also stopped the race. So we're going to have to do a take two. Man, I keep having issues in these EN concert races. Alright, we're going to try again on the race restart. Let's pretend the first try didn't happen. Also, we're just gonna see here. I'm just trying to see who finished where below 18th on the grid. Again, sorry if we have to run this restart again. You can render the previous one as invalid. Alright. Alright, let's take two. It's going to be Jake Goodwin and Rafael de Oliveira taking this restart from the front row. And just like what we saw from the first attempt at a restart, it will be de Oliveira with a better start. But will the same thing happen? Alright. Straddles the curb, nearly makes contact. Here comes Ryan Kagawa, but this time both of them are still going to go at it. Very tight contest between the two, but this time no drivers have gone off the track at the very least. So it will be a de Oliveira leading Goodwin, Kagawa in third, Adachi 4th, Kuromi 5th, Williams in 6th, Mendes in 7th, Tayo in 8th, Shannon Reza is in P9, and in P10 it will be Iron for Hakos Bales. So our remaining 18 cars now make their way into this race. Alright, so basically the running order is that 26 is of course Jody Pranata, 25th will be Prower, 24th will be Zacharias, 23rd will be now given that Azuri didn't actually complete the lap, he will start in P23. And then also involving in the incident as well is Hanari Miyuki, which will remain receiving his P22nd. Who's be in P21. Sven Jensen will be starting in P20 as we see our entrance. And we also have seen our next retirement in this race. And just to double check on who retired. Apologies if we have actually had to go off on a tangent here. So if you want to know what happened to Dan Evans, here's a... yep, that's basically him going off into a spin. Here's exactly what happened. Oh, yep, I think this is similar to what happened to Shannon Reza and Johnny Pranata earlier in the race. Now, in this one, I think it's a similar case. The driver ahead goes down the inside at the Rainer corner, but takes the curb too much and loses control, sending another car out. I would argue this is actually, if what happened, if we're going to apply the same principle of what happened to Shadareza and Karanata, then this will be a racing incident. So it is Dan Evans, our championship leader, out of this race. Unfortunately, but basically if you don't do well in today's race, it still wouldn't be too bad because there is still race 2 to try to turn things around. This race essentially is a massive qualification race to decide who qualifies where. And now from the incident here, we also wanted to add Evans will now start in P18 as a result. Alright, so anyways, massive casualty event aside, this is a stream that and races that coincide with the Serendipity concert that will take place later today in Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles, California. It's to take place in roughly 10 hours from now, so there's still plenty of time for these drivers to make their way to Los Angeles for the concert. This stream is also being hosted at a very reasonable time in Japan. Looks like 12 a.m. Japan time on a Saturday. So that is basically good timing for the Japanese as well. I mean, this is of course the audience. But anyways, let's take a look back to the race right now. Let's make our way to this Serendipity concert. Of course, we are also going to try our best to spread the word to everyone else on YouTube who may be watching this as well. That's what we mentioned earlier. So if you are interested in knowing more about the Serendipity live concert coming up and the ways to watch it, there's a QR code on the bottom right of your screen. Do scan it and you'll be redirected to the 4th concert website, where you'll be greeted with a lot of information about it, including the talents that are being represented by the drivers today that will be set to perform in Shrine Auditorium. Alright, so we're now coming into what looks like the halfway stage. Once we get past lap 27 of the 56th lap that we were supposed to originally run, which in this case, it will be lap 11 out of 41 in this restarted race. We will be officially reaching the halfway stage. also looking into this BFF side of things, only one driver has survived. De Oliveira, meanwhile, now that he's in the lead of this race, is going to try to capitalize as much of this as he can. Also, looking into Hanari Miyuki, that finished in P22nd. Looks like the stewards have made their decision. So it will be a 5-place grid penalty for Hanari Miyuki, which essentially, from Miyuki's P22 score, will mean that she will be dropping down well into the back of the grid, at the tail end of the grid actually, for tomorrow's race for causing a collision like that. Obviously, it is not supposed to happen like that, so of course, Miyuki is going to take some time to process this information and to try to find ways to make it work at the back. De Oliveira, meanwhile, 1:15.776, the fastest out of anyone so far, and actually beating our lap time targets. So De Oliveira absolutely making things work here. Everyone now being told to further calm down. But, of course, there hadn't been a lot of collisions that involve more than one car, apart from the Miyuki incident. So, of course, 17 cars are still in this race. So, we'll see how it goes here. Tyler Williams now in P6 against Tyler Kuromi Tyler Williams against Evelyn Kuromi in P5. God damn it, I mixed up those names, I apologize. But anyways, that looks like 21 laps complete out of the 56 that we are scheduled to run here. And obviously, once this race concludes, some of the drivers will immediately book a flight to Monterey to basically get themselves to Los Angeles, and then after that, some of them will have to immediately find ways to commute back to the Laguna Seca racetrack, as we're seeing already drivers coming into the pits. As we mentioned earlier, it's around the lap 20 mark out of 56 where drivers will start making their pit stops, and here we see our first drivers making their trip to get their car serviced. Corey Recommended, Iron, and Muhammad Reza will be trying to go for an undercut strategy to try to get fresh air and lap times to basically get themselves ahead on this what has been a otherwise hard to overtake circuit. Reza now pulls ahead of Iron. Iron takes a long time to get his car serviced. So based on race results right now, as it stands right now, Azurit will start 22nd, Zakaris in 23rd, Proud 24th, Granata in 25th, and Hanari Miyuki will start at the back of the race. Oh, and here we see Rafael de Oliveira now coming into the pits to get his car serviced. We'll see how he fares in this undercut strategy. And also, just a note here, Iron is now currently into turn 5. Jay Goodman is now currently into turn 1, so the issue of lap cars is not going to be a lot. Drivers not coming into the pits. That's Angel Sims and Pamakashi Shadareza. Shadareza's gone off the track. Unbelievable! Same issue that applied to Matias has also applied to Shadareza. And here is what happened just after exiting the pits. Cold tires and all that and whatnot. And then he decided, yep, the car is not going to cooperate. Full lockup into the gravel trap, and that's Muhammad Shadareza out of this race. He will be at most credited with a P17 finish. And that's where he will be starting in... and turn this has been a race of, again, chaos. But mostly because Hanari-Muki caused what we call 5-car pileup. With power head engine failure, Konata actually crashed out. It was also involved in a crash as well, so that should be about 7 cars involved in multi-car collisions. The pilot remains to be seen. But anyways, Takeda Adachi now comes into the pits, and right now his closest rival is Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, and he's currently at the corkscrew. Alright, so we got more drivers coming in into the pits. Here's Adachi, here's Tayo, Bumi, Asano. Ninja Ferrari also coming into the pits here. Takeda Adachi still has his car currently at a standstill, while Yuri Rafael de Oliveira is about to make things work here. Adachi still just gets his car out, but it will be too late. Yuri Rafael de Oliveira with that one single lap of the undercut has managed to get himself ahead. Just keeps happening. We got the Long Beach race in Connect the World, and then in 2024 Breaking Dimensions in Lime Rock Park. I think 2025 has been relatively trouble-free. I think it's the most trouble-free EN concert race that we've had in the history of HoloProto. It's the All for One. And of course, in the All for One concert, just wanted to check here. Of course, in race 2, after, well, actually, never mind. Has also been an attritional race. Never mind. I think I'm not sure which one is the least attritional. All of these races, these EN class concerts, have resulted in races having to be red flagged and restarted due to heavy collisions. And you can see De Oliveira already having huge amounts of damage to his car. And if you want to know what happened, because I was just checking on the information published by himself. You can see here's what happened. He actually struck the inside wall. He actually misjudged his entry into the kink in the main straight, and that is essentially self-inflicted damage. Now he has to continue with the rest of the race with a damaged car on his left side. Everywhere they go, and of course we are, and of course in the EN concerts themselves, they've also been involved in a lot of shenanigans, artificial experiences or their own actions. First of all, you got the people going skibbity again and again and again. Wonder if that the skibbity streak has caused a lot of misfortune. And where the other find out about this? That one cannot answer just yet. Now that we have 16 cars remaining, and some of these drivers are actually pretty well separated, and assuming that they also don't make any efforts to make Now there are only 2 drivers who have yet to make their pit stop there, Ryan Kagawa and Hazuki Yazid, from what we are seeing here. So once these pit stops are settled, now that we are coming into 30 laps to go and into the halfway stage of the Serendipity 400 here. And And right now, as we mentioned, Hazy and Ryan Kagawa now come in for their service. So the Oliveira, despite having decent amount of damage on his car, is going to proceed as usual. As Jake Goodwin also makes his way into P2. Just about. And looks to me that Goodwin might just be able to take P2. Actually, no. Kagawa has actually managed to overcut Jake Goodwin by staying off for as long as he can. And just actually maintaining track position. He's able to maintain track position. As we're seeing more side-by-side action here. Yazid now dropping down into P15 and now potentially down into P16 as well. Iron is giving chase, but it won't be enough. Hazy Yazid will now occupy the final, well, assumed point position. Right now, Goodwin and Cashew, both of them occupy a point position if the race ends at race 1. So this will give Iron and Chandreza a chance to earn points. Alright, Kagawa with his previous lap was being another pit stop. Time. Of our remaining entrants here. Hiroshi Tayo is currently forming a conga line, as some people call it. It's a train of cars. Of course, this often happens in tracks where it's difficult to overtake and you're being told to just... I mean, you ask drivers to not make overtakes. And the drivers, more often than not, just don't listen. It goes against their racing nature. So, anyways, so what do they do now? Just continue racing as they are. Sure, there might be some extra caution, but to say that they should not be racing at all, it would be a massive lie. As now we see Dasano against Tawan Bumin, trying to carry the flame of the BFFs for as long as he can, for as much as he can actually. So, yeah, we are now at 28 laps complete. So we are now officially at the halfway stage of race 1 of the Serendipity 400. Race 1, by the way. So as it stands right now, De Oliveira will start on pole position for race 2. There will be another race drivers briefing following this race as well. It's post-race experience. For those who will be heading to Los Angeles anyway, they can just go there as well. There will be a briefing for race for the second race, so that's also that as well. So, anyways, these are cars just absolutely zooming past the Laguna Seca circuit. All right. So, Tawan Bumin looking to make the pass on Hiroshi Tayo. Knowing what happened in this race so far, he has to absolutely exercise a good amount of basically caution. Just throw a huge amount of caution to the wind, as with this racer. Anyways, just a reminder to scan the QR code if you want to know more about the Serendipity live content coming right up. The schedule, the timing, and the ways to watch, and methods of, you know, obtaining a streaming ticket if you're not able to attend the concert in person. But anyways, it is indeed fluffy time for Tawan as he just continues to charge his way into further higher up in the pack. Right now, a lot of us are hoping this driver, De Oliveira, can bring it home into the line, already showing insane amounts of pace from the previous two HoloProto International races. One in Thailand is the one that got away from him as he crashed out from the lead after he aquaplaned into turn 3 with monetized Reza joining him as well. That essentially red flagged the race as that was the crash that brought the entry list down from 24 to 6. And therefore that is what gave Tyler Williams, who's currently running in 5th, the win. And now with Dan Evans out of the picture, and of course Dan Evans looking to start in P18 for the next race, for the race tomorrow. This is also a sight to behold, as we're now about to absolutely see the race leaders' resolve and mental fortitude as these string of poor circumstances keep on happening. Enzo Ferrari's got problems, I just noticed. Enzo Ferrari's got problems, and that problem has come in the form of... Well, why am I not surprised? This is why I was having consistently shown problems with braking, applying too much brakes, and then just sending the car into the gravel trap. It's literally a carbon copy of what happened to Mattia Zacharias, and so Enzo Ferrari will be guaranteed a P16 finish. Sorry to all of the Zombrans out there, but that's the end of the road, at least for race 1. But this means that Enzo Ferrari will start P16 in tomorrow's race. So our remaining survivors, if the race ends at race 1 and points are awarded for this race, then this means that Iron will get the minimum points. But then again, we also have both Goodwin and Cashew in the top 15, so they will be excluded from the running order, at least when counting points are concerned, and this will allow Ferrari, so Destiny Reza gets a solitary point, Ferrari gets 4, Iron gets 8. And then, of course, Yes gets 14, and so on and so forth, until De Oliveira gets to 200. And so the race is now entered its calm and sedated state, where everyone's just gonna try to bring their car home. So now now this race turns into a race of basically anticipating what your next opponent will be on the racetrack. Will it be a fight for position, or will it be a fight to just pass a lap car? Either way, a set of course rules dictate that they're all the same. And the lap cars apparently are given no right to let the drivers ahead of them by laps run. Like they are in no obligation to let them through. So basically, the lap cars basically race the leaders on the lead lap as if they're running on the same lap. And so with full intent to defend the positions and attack and all whatnot. So this is going to cause more headaches. As Adachi now continue to basically run this race as he should. Kagawa in P2. Doing very well for the ID representative. De Oliveira winning here means he starts on pole for race 2. That essentially means that we have run 33 laps. We are now on lap 34. And Ryan Kagawa is absolutely getting very close there to Rafael de Oliveira. Now these drivers have actually got history between each other. It was Ryan Kagawa in the Nerissa Rivercroft number 76, and it was De Oliveira in the number 01 Pavolia Rene car. But following change of interest from De Oliveira, and with Kagawa's approval and blessing, this essentially means a ride swap between these two. So these drivers are basically fighting off against their former teams of sorts. So there is another layer of competition and rivalry set between the two. Will it be De Oliveira or will it be Kagawa? Last time out, it was Kagawa that won off of Nerissa when either one of these two have won, and this has only happened once. So it now comes down to mental fortitude for these two. How these two are gonna approach this fight for this race lead. Surviving here. He has it. Giving chase to Mama Cashew. Owen, meanwhile, continues to monitor the situation in the top two. And, no, it is okay. You know? And looks like it's still a feisty contest for the front spot of this race. And another question to ask is, where are the lap cars? Ivan currently is the last car running on this track and the last car on the lead lap, and she's currently on the main straight. De Oliveira is currently ascending up at Ray Hall Straight. His way forward, even with a badly wounded car. The demon of sound will continue to fight on. Alright, so if you do want to know some extra context, while it is 10 a.m. in Monterey and Los Angeles, it's also 1 a.m. in where I am right now, and therefore it is pretty much sleepy time, but I am going to have to proceed with the current situation. A bit of a disconnect on Steam, and this is gonna cause some issues, but I think currently there will be no problems. But anyways, we are just gonna continue on with the current developments here, as we're now seeing again Yazzie getting closer to Cashew, and now the difference here is the Oliveira have now opened up the gap, and this is gonna be a bit of an issue there. The Oliveira has actually overcooked it at turn 4, so turn 5, and now to turn 6. The Oliveira keeps his car on the track, but it's gonna cause Kagawa to close back in. So this race has now become a race of, again, just continues to build up on its mental fortitude aspect. Everyone just gonna try to keep themselves so they're still pretty much on this fight. Kagawa meanwhile now going to see if he can get closer and closer there to the Oliveira. The fight just continues to form here. Oh yeah, unfortunately there was a slight disconnect, so a bit of that whoopsie moment. Also can't check the YouTube light control panel either. Twitch is still doing okay right now. I just want to check if we're still live or if we've completely disconnected. OBS is showing no issues right now. Oh balls! I'm gonna have to check here. And as it stands right now, we are still live. Still pretty much interestingly fought contest. Kagawa and Oliveira only having 100th of a second separating between each other. This is a very interesting fight here. I mean, you had to go back to the likes of Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher in the context of Formula 1 in Imola in both 2005-2006. And China is pretty much hard to overtake. Just gonna keep on taking a look here as to what the scenery is at the corkscrew, and it is a interesting look of sorts. So, anyways. Laps complete right now on lap 41 of 56. When you think about the total lap count, we haven't gone below the 25% threshold to end the race early. Just continuing to see if we can find something here. Speaking of which, Iron is currently in turn 4. And De Oliveira is currently into the final corner. So the odds of De Oliveira catching up to Iron is gonna be next to none right now. It's pretty slim, but it's considered as a next to none. So right now, Kagawa just needs to find some openings to get something against the jailbird driver. But of course, we're seeing De Oliveira make mistakes as well. All right, because there was a slight disconnect on the OBS end, and I thought that there might be problems, but thanks for telling me that it's okay. 0.8 of a second now, separating between the leaders. Oh, and that's a car going off, but I think it's still okay right now. De Oliveira now in the lead still. Alright, so, anyways, the other battles that we need to pay attention to. Angelo Sims currently running in P11, chasing Kyuta Sano for a top 10 position. And, right now it is... the case of, Sims trying to get herself back in contention. I'm trying to find words here. And so Sims also doesn't have a good season. Only Joshua Zurich has been able to consistently beat her for the driver is currently bottom of the standings. So that is that. So we are now going to have to take a look here into what's currently the situation here. Alright, so Kagawa now still under a second behind. Right now, Kagawa has seen De Oliveira make mistakes, but he also needs to make sure that he doesn't make one himself. Oh, and that's Takeda Adachi! Takeda Adachi's gone off! And I think it is the same song and dance. He has went over the... He's went over the gravel and walked up there. Tons of drivers having the same issue, and it's Adachi out of this race. I want to know what happened exactly. Okay, might be something wrong with the screen here, but I think. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my goodness, that was a big crash on our end. And I thought our mates in the VTRP had it bad, but... oh my goodness, so... Alright, so Takeda, okay, so we have a crash that just happened in our stream. So we'd like to apologize for this technical blunder. Alright, so we're just gonna check here to see what has been going on. And again, we'd like to apologize for the crash. And of course, we are just gonna have to... Alright, so about Takeda Adachi. So basically what happened here is that Adachi had the same issue with Zacharias and all the other drivers who have basically gone off at the turn 5. Was that turn 6? So, alright, so we're gonna have to go for a second red flag that basically is a result of drivers crashing. I'm not sure about Corey Recommenders, but I know... okay, yeah, Corey Recommenders is also out of this race. I know that. I think it's also for a similar incident. I do have noticed as well. So, we're gonna go for one more stop, at least for this race. So, we're gonna credit Mo Shadow with P17 and let me just check. Ferrari P16 and Corey Recomendes will be credited with P15. So we will have all right. So there will be 13 cars remaining now. So it will be Mendes, Ferrari. Mendes, Ferrari. Shadareza is also out of the list as well. Adachi is out as well. So the running order as of let me just check. And I believe it is with 11 laps to go. So it's De Oliveira over Kagawa, and then Goodwin, and then Kuromi. Williams now Iron. Sorry, Williams Muazif, and then Hiroshitayo Tawan Bumin, and then Hirota Asano, Angela Sims, and then Cashew, and then Yazid. And then Irin. Yazid, Irin, and yeah, Tawan Bumin is between Tayo Bumiasano, Sims, Cashew, Yazid, Irin. Alright, so we have 13 cars remaining. We're just gonna have to double check the stream here. Alright, we're gonna restart this race with 13 laps to go. We are gonna try to continue on with the stream for as much as we can. So we're going to finish off this red flag. Again, apologies for this technical issue. So please bear with me here as we're gonna get the cars back out on the track. With only 13 cars remaining, we were still good for a race or two. Alright. Okay, this time it's gonna be Rafael de Oliveira up in front, and this might not actually benefit him. Everyone will be good for the remainder of this race now, and the lights have gone off. But it doesn't really matter now, does it? Because your Rafael de Oliveira has a very good start. He's gonna go down the inside. Astral the curbs will allow Ryan Kagawa to go alongside. And right now, we might be seeing some crashes for our remaining entrants, but as it stands right now, it's still pretty good. Kagawa now leads De Oliveira, and Kuromi's in third, Go in fourth, Williams fifth. Make that Tayo, or was that Wazif now in sixth, Woman in eighth, Asano ninth, and Angela Sims rounds out the top 10. Now we are seeing this battle now forming between going to see how this battle develops here between Kagawa and De Oliveira, especially coming into the final laps here of the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. Our two JP class entrants running as guests are still holding off very strongly. Goin, meanwhile, has dropped into P4. Cashew is now in P13. Will of course see the full race results once we are done and dusted with all of this, and of course much of this fight still for entrance here. As you guys see, meanwhile, he's going to try to go at it there against Angela Sims. There's a massive contact between the two. Sims manages to hold on into that top 10. And you know what's funny right here? The two biggest agents of chaos in Hall Live English, Irene, who basically is the aspect of chaos in Council Now Promise, is now still running in this race. The chaos is absolutely applied onto the other drivers, but not onto the titular embodiment of chaos. Kagawa now this time has the fastest lap of the race, leaving De Oliveira in dust. All right. De Oliveira, meanwhile, still chasing onto Ryan Kagawa. There's still this sliver of hope in race 1 that De Oliveira might just take the win away. Now we're seeing Kagawa already gaining some time there onto De Oliveira. And obviously, you know what, at this point, we should just embrace chaos. Kagawa now at a 115.990, continuing to pull away from the rest of the pack. Looking like a favorite to take this win for Povoli Arene. Kagawa absolutely showcasing his worth as the driver for Arena, of course, winning in this 2025 HoloProto International season. Having won a race in the 2025 HoloProto International season in Sepang last year, and now showcasing his continuous skill set to win races. Pretty much question mark as to how this will look, but then again, it's only the race results from race 1 that will be brought over into sorry, we're bad wording. Well, the race results in race 1 will be the grid for race 2, and then race 2 will be the one that will award you with the points. Yeah, I think that should make sense enough. Right. So we are now coming into the final 9 laps here to conclude today's race 1 of the Serendipity 400 here in Laguna Seca. Now, do share us your thoughts. Negative one is also permissible. At least I have to check the negative comments. Anyways, Kagawa still holding strong, but there might be a surprise at the end. Everyone just trying to survive. They know that they should not be crashing out in this race, because if they crash out, there's one last chance to start higher up in the grid. And right now we are just seeing now. 2 Indonesian drivers duking it out. Also, Kuromi. It's a good day for Indonesian drivers here, with the exception of Jari Pranata, who has already crashed out, as we have established earlier. Meanwhile, the defending race winner, the one who won in Burram, and also a race of attrition. But everything's a race of attrition, no race is fair. But anyways, we are now coming into the the last stage of the second restart. And right now we will see how it works for these entries. Still an okayish look so far, but at the very least we are running this Laguna Seca race to the end of the race distance. I mean, the recommendations to avoid the curbs in one of these corners have at least been taken into consideration. But, of course, there's still the issue of sometimes you have massive pileups, and then you have the cars now going. No, we got some heavily damaged cars still staying on the track. So right now we're just going to check here. Ryan Kagawa has already started the final 5 laps here in the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400 Race 1. Another year of hosting races based on EN Concert. It's another year where we'll be dealing with this amount of chaos and this amount of attrition. And if you guys are down for it, I don't mind it, but of course, sometimes having too much chaos can only be a bad thing. Race through, and of course, with that out of the way, we're all just going to just run through this race just like that. But of course, we're just gonna have to see how it works. Right, so we're counting down the laps now. Alright, so actually, okay, now we're in the final 10 laps of this race. So, as we mentioned earlier, there will be no points scored. So there will be no points scored for race 1, because this race will only serve as a way to set the grid for race 2. And again, I hope you all have enjoyed the race despite the chaos, despite the amount of attrition that we're seeing here. It's one of those times where I really do want to avoid it, but it just keeps on happening again. And you know, it sometimes happens, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. But, you know, we'll just have to proceed. Alright, so looking into the remaining running order here. So, Columbia, meanwhile, just trying to see if she can start on the front row for race 2 tomorrow. Columbia now P3, trying to see if she can get P2 from Rivera. Looks like once again, this will be a race that will go away for Rivera. So close yet so far when it comes to his chance to win a race in, well, especially for Narissa Ravencroft. It just keeps on happening. And right now we are coming close there to the absolute latter stage of this race. Now, we are now coming to the final 3 laps here of the Serendipity 400 here in Laguna Seca. Some drivers have already made their way into the airport. Some are waiting for the race to finish so that they can bring in the other mates here into the airport. So, it is still a massive question mark. Yes, too. Is going to be approaching for race 2, especially what we see on race 1 so far. Oh, and Evelyn Cromie having a late engine failure that will send her tumbling down the order, and she will be credited with a P13 finish this race. This will allow Goodwin to move up into P3 and everyone else to move up position as well, down from 3rd place. Alright, so we're about to start the final lap of this race soon. For race 1, at least we're running it. At least we are running this for as long as we can. And Tyler Williams, oh my goodness, Tyler Williams with a late engine issue. That's gonna also send him out. He will be credited with P12. Man, this race has been a massive battle royale. That will leave us with only 11 cars running coming into the final lap of this race. What do we call that? Call that crazy. But at this point, we're just ready to just run it. As we're now going to see Ryan Kagawa take into the final lap of this race. Kagawa, who, of course, had been a dark horse, if you will, in these competitions, is now going to try to see if he can spread the word of Pavoli Arena now that his drives have been swapped. Ryan Kagawa, who had been in midfield, who had also scored a podium actually in the split series, is now gonna cap this off with a win in race 1 of the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. For the second year in a row, the race will be won. Race 1 will be won by a race in an EN class concert race will be won by a non-EN member, and this time it's going to be Ryan Kagawa. Out into the final corner, the Mirages will be celebrating as Kagawa basically spreads his wings across the Laguna Seca circuit in absolute beauty. Ryan Kagawa wins race 1 of the Laguna Seca Serendipity 400. The Oliveira will be good. It can only be good enough for second place, but it will still be good enough for the front row for tomorrow's race. Goodwin will be in P3. As we're seeing more drivers complete their runs here, and that will be the race grid official. So it will be Ryan Kagawa taking the checkered flag here for race 1 with De Oliveira in P2 and Jay Goodwin in P3. So these are your podium sitters for race 1. Rafael De Oliveira continues to be the best of the EN class cars running and surviving all this chaos as well. Aziz Mwazif as well has done an amazing job to be where he is right now in P4 for the driver who is currently occupying 9th in the standings. And then after that, we have the 2 best Indonesian drivers, Hinoch Tayo and Hyuta Asano. We'll share with you all the starting lineup for race 2 tomorrow. And also we got Tawan Bumin, who of course survives a very hectic race, much to the delight of the BFF gang. Sims in P8, Iron in P9, and rounding out top 10 will be Haziq Yazid. And P11, the last car running, is of course Muhammad Cashew. But again, anything can still happen in this race. As also Tyler Williams and 11 Chromie also are out of this race as well. And looking into the field here, I do want to share with you all the basically provisional starting lineup here for race 2. As now we have basically finished with the race running. All right, so we're just gonna show you all the standings. Just gonna double check if everything is okay. All right, so we're just gonna double check everything and if everything is gonna be okay. All right, so let's take a look into the race results of basically race 1. So we're just gonna double check. Also, we're just gonna have to turn this off and window capture this one. All right, so here are your race results for this race. So, yeah, Kagawa will take the checkered flag and therefore will start on pole position for tomorrow's race. And De Oliveira will start on the front row as well. Guen and Waziv make up row 2 with sorry about that. Tayo and Asano on row 3, Wumin and Sims on row 4, Iron and Haziyazi on row 5, Cashew and Williams make up row 6, Kuromi and Adachi on row 7, Mendes and Ferrari on row 8, Shazan Reza and Evans on row 9, Haziyazi and Sven on row 10, Javier Luz on row 11, but of course we will have to drop some of the other drivers down the order here. Of course, Hanari Miyuki will start in P26 after her the collision that ended multiple other cars here. So Azur will now start on P22, Zacharias P23, Prower P24, Pranata P25, and Miyuki on P26. Alright, so with that out of the way, I would like to apologize for the let it rain on Laguna Seca. Alright, thank you for telling me about that. But with that out of the way, that it should be it for today's race. As much of an attrition as it was, we had to continue on as usual because I have a spine. All right, so let's take a so with that out of the way, we'd like to thank you all for tuning into today's races. We hope to see you tomorrow for basically Invitational Race 2 and basically main race 2 as well. But with that out of the way, with our activities coming to an end for our end, we'd like to redirect you to the main event for tonight, the Serendipity concert for Hall Live English. Their fourth since 2023, to be held at Shine Auditorium in about 9 hours time. So you can scan the more information at the bottom right, the QR code at the bottom right. So if you want to know more about this concert, the talents and the merchandising that comes with it, you can scan the QR code at the bottom right of your screen for more information. With that out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in for today. My name is Mama Shazan Reza in the commentary booth, and you've been watching the Laguna Seca Serendipity 4 hours. 400. And we'll see you tomorrow for the second set of races. Take care, everyone, and we'll probably see you in Shrine Auditorium. I don't know. But whatever the case is, we'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's races.